Topping today's news, residents on Harbour Island and Grand Bahama protest over power supply. Opposition deputy leader says the government is failing. An unmanned submersible locates the missing diver 600 feet deep in Dean's Blue Hole, and the government looking to begin rice and crop farming in the Bahamas. Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Jcn Saunders. This is your JCN Evening News. It is a pleasure to have you join us.
Look up, Ryland! Oh, look up, Ryland!
That was the scene on Harbour Island on Monday morning as residents who are fed up with the poor utility services took to the streets in protest against the electricity and water providers, while also expressing their frustration and disappointment with successive governments for allowing basic infrastructure on the island to disintegrate despite the vibrant and growing economy. They say the issues have existed for years, but in recent months, frequent power outages up to 4 hours multiple times per day, in addition to low or no water supply, has plagued the proud people of Bryland. And quite frankly, they have had enough. The protesters assembled at the Bahamas Power and Light headquarters on Harbour Island, where they voiced their frustrations. Meanwhile, last week during the office of the Prime Minister's weekly press briefing, the Chief Operations Officer for Bahamas Power and Light, Tony Seymour, apologized to the residents of Harbour Island and mainland Eleuthera for the poor service and laid out plans BPL has to address the situation. Despite this and an announcement on Monday that 5 of the 6 generators on the island were up and running and capable of meeting more than 95% of load demands, with additional support coming from the Hatchet Bay power plant, another round of blackouts over the weekend was enough for residents who are demanding long-term, reliable solutions. Bahamas Power and Light said they are taking strong and additional measures to ensure that the power supply on Harbour Island is more than adequate. The Minister of Energy, Dobeth Kobe Davis, also announced Monday that BPL will be providing a 50% rebate on the base rate for all residential and commercial customers on Eleuthera for July, which will be reflected in their August bill. We told you on Monday that residents on Grand Bahama were also set to protest to send a clear and strong message to the Grand Bahama Port Authority that they are not happy about a proposed 6.3% base rate increase on electricity as requested last week by the Grand Bahama Power Company. Scores of Grand Bahamians showed up to voice their displeasure, holding placards critical of the Grand Bahama Port Authority. There were also a number of members of Parliament and other party politicians that supported the protesters, included the Member of Parliament for Central Grand Bahama, Aram Lewis, who had this to say.
To make sure persons at home can turn the air conditioner on at night. Yes. They can turn on their fan at night. They can be relaxed. We cannot do. We have people sleeping in their cars, sleeping outside on their patio because the power is off. And on top of that, before you fix it, you're trying to put the cart before the horse. Yes. You didn't fix the problem yet, and you're trying to add an additional burden on the people. Totally unacceptable, my people. I'm proud of you. I stand with you today. I stand with you until this problem is solved.
Prime Minister Philip Davis is on record saying the rate increase is unreasonable, while it grapples with ERCA and the government about who has the regulatory authority over utilities in the port area. The Grand Bahama Port Authority said it will undertake a comprehensive assessment of the proposal, and they'll make a decision whether to increase the rates or not. If approved, those rates, they will be increased in January of 2025. On Monday, in a voice message, Free National Movement Deputy Leader Shannon Cartwright said in no uncertain terms that despite the picture of success the government is trying to portray, many Bahamians are hurting and struggling like never before as a result of the government's failure to ease the burden on Bahamians caused by rising inflation. But instead, he accused the Davis administration of introducing new taxes and fees. According to Mr. Cartwright, more and more Bahamians are becoming frustrated with the Davis administration.
Our nation is headed in the wrong direction, and the Bahamian people are catching hell for it. There's a deep dissatisfaction that is running throughout the Commonwealth of the Bahamas as the Bahamian people contend with a frustrating and vexating way of life under this New Day government. Despite the many pronouncements and self-gratifying public relations, the government has overpromised and underdelivered. The Bahamian people don't just want prosperity on paper, they want it in their pockets. They are tired, frustrated, and angered.
Mr. Cartwright pointed to the high murder rate, which is on pace to surpass the 110 murders in 2023, fueled by an unacceptable level of gun violence, he says. Mr. Cartwright mentioned a list of concerns where he says the government is failing, including the BPL union members who are in fear of their future, neglect of Family Island airports, power and water concerns on Eleuthera and Grand Bahama. The Grand Bahama economy still struggling, he says. He also says that Bahamians can see that the government's policies are not working.
More and more, it has become increasingly evident to Bahamians across the length and breadth of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, PLPs, F&Ms, and would-be independents, that this New Day government policies have hurt more than helped. Bahamians are more burdened through taxes, more unfair because of crime, and further away from the Bahamian dream than ever before. It is this government, this New Day government, that is failing the Bahamian people.
Mr. Cartwright accused the government of wasting millions of dollars on travel and consultants. He also accused the government of failing to ensure a $4 million payment to secure 10,000 CLECO policy holders. Police informed late Monday that the body of 50-year-old Douglas McCarty was found around 5:45 p.m. extremely deep in Dean's Blue Hole. The police, along with members from the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, utilized an unmanned submersible drone to conduct a systematic search of Dean's Blue Hole, which revealed that McCarty's body was discovered at a depth of 600 feet below sea level. The police, they're working with deep water specialists and technical divers. They were there today trying to strategize a plan to bring McCarty's remains to the surface without compromising the divers' safety. McCarty and his family members went for a swim on Saturday at Dean's Blue Hole's beach. He reportedly took a dive into the Blue Hole but never resurfaced. Up to news time today, there were no further reports on whether they were able to safely retrieve his body. And finally, in this segment, it is Fox Hill Day today. Slaves in that historic Fox Hill village found out that they were free 1 week later than slaves in the rest of New Providence. Prime Minister Philip Davis was expected to take part in the annual church crawl, and they were supposed to start at St. Paul's this morning. However, the Prime Minister did not make it this year. He was represented by the Member of Parliament for Fox Hill, Fred Mitchell, while the Free National Movement's Deputy Leader, Shannon Cartwright, filled in for Opposition Leader Michael Pintard. Slaves were officially emancipated in the Bahamas in 1834. You're listening to JCN News. We'll take a break here. We'll be right back after these commercials.